Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Health by Haven podcast and Happy New Year. We are officially in 2026 and in season 4 of the Health by Haven podcast. And today I wanted to use today's episode as a little bit of a state of the union of Health by Haven, and naturally my own personal life will flow into this because I am the business and the business is me. And I don't know about you guys, but every year at the end of the year when it comes to a close, I really love to take a moment to look back on the year that has passed and everything that's happened, good and bad, things that I've accomplished, goals that I've set and achieved or fallen short of. What's working really well, what's maybe not lighting me up anymore, so that I can forecast out what I want my next year to look like. And I do think that we have the power to control our lives, to shape our lives, to decide what we want the year ahead to look like. And that doesn't mean that curveballs won't be thrown. That doesn't mean that we don't have responsibilities with work or with life, or there won't be things that come up that we don't want to necessarily do, but that we have to do. Of course, those things will be there still, but I don't believe that we are dealt a certain set of cards that this is our life and this is what we have to live with, and we have no say over it. I think that we have the power to choose our own destiny. And if there's something that you want, make it happen. So that's why I think this is such an important practice at the end of every year and going into the new year. But if you're finding this episode like in May or October or June, you don't need a new year to decide to change your life. You don't need a Monday, a new day, a new week, a new month. You can decide right here, right now, in this exact second of time that you want to change your life, and you can do it. So here I am getting all existential right from the beginning, but I really firmly believe this, and I hope this is helping motivate you. I am certainly not special, but I have made a lot of big changes in my life over the last year that are things that I've wanted for a really long time, and they've finally come to fruition. So if you have a goal that you want to achieve, or if there's something in your life that you don't like, you can change it, or you can set and achieve that goal. That is up to you to make it happen. Of course, you want support along the way, but I think you can do it, and I will be your cheerleader. I love hearing what you guys have set to achieve and what you have in store for the year. So as I look back on 2025, oh my gosh, was it a huge, huge transformational year for me, both personally and professionally. I basically flipped everything upside down. I talk a lot more about this in episode 62 of the podcast. If this is something that you're interested in, curious in, can relate to, are looking to do for yourself, go back and listen to that episode. But in this year, I turned 30. So, of course, there's a lot in the astrological charts about your Saturn's return. Mine was this year. It's typically around when you're 30, and that usually means a huge season of change, upheaval, reprioritizing what you want in your life. And that certainly was me this year. I left my career in higher education. Something that I went to graduate school to pursue. I have a master's degree in education, an industry that I worked in for 6 years full time, but throughout my 2 years of grad school as well, and really in a part-time capacity in undergrad as well with the different offices that I worked in. And so this was a massive change in my life. This was the only career really that I had known. Um, and there's a lot that I could go into there, but basically, I realized that that wasn't my purpose and that wasn't the path that I wanted to continue to pursue to make the biggest impact on the world and on people around me. And it wasn't fully fulfilling me or lighting me up in the way that it formerly did. And what does is Health by Haven and this podcast and speaking with you and coaching my clients and providing recipes and generally providing support and ways for people to live a little happier, a little healthier, because that's how I believe I can make an impact on this world. So I turned 30. I left my career. I started my own business. This year, I incorporated Health by Haven as an LLC. I sold my car and most of my furniture and belongings, and I moved from Tennessee to New York City with my husband, Billy, and my golden retriever, Waffles. So from the beginning of this year to the end of the year, really nothing is the same. So let's do a little month by month recap. It'll be some of my personal things, some of my business things, and then we'll get into a year in review of the podcast itself. So January, aforementioned job change. I quit my job in higher education after 6 years in that office, and I started working full-time managing the Pure Barre Knoxville studio for my friend Rachel. And we both knew that this was a short-term move for me because we both knew I was moving to New York City, but I really wanted to work full-time in the fitness industry. I've been teaching Pure Barre as a side job since 2019. It's a company and fitness modality that I truly love and truly believe in. And so it was so much fun getting to be a little bit more involved in the studio managing. After I served as lead teacher in the year prior, I got to do some of the sales and work with the sales team managing the studio in January was when that began. I had one last trip to Columbia to turn in all of my work things in my former job and see my South Carolina friends. And then I bid farewell to the world of higher education and hello to the full-time world of health and wellness. In February, I ran the Strawberry Plains Half Marathon. This was my, I think, third time running this race. I usually love this half, and that's why I was excited to sign up for it months prior. But to be totally honest with you guys, I had a really rocky relationship with running the beginning of this year. I was not feeling super motivated to do it, to set big goals. It was feeling a bit more like a chore to me versus the mental clarity and release that it has typically brought me. And so I was struggling around this time with running. It was really hard for me because running has been a huge part of my identity for so long now. And so I ran that race, wasn't super jazzed to be there. It was rainy. It was cold. I did not PR. I didn't really have the best time, to be honest. And that's nothing against the race. That was totally me and my mindset and where I was at that point in time. But I share that just because everything in our lives ebb and flow. Even something that you love to do. Running is something that I truly, truly love. And sometimes this still happens to me. So if you look at me on Instagram and you see all my running posts and you think, oh my gosh, like, why does she love running so much? Like, how does she love running so much? I wish I liked running. Sometimes I don't. And that's okay. And if there's something like that in your life, it's okay. Don't force it because it will just keep feeling worse. I promise it will come back around as it did for me later in 2025. In February, I also spent a weekend away in a cabin in the mountains of Tennessee with my family, and it was such a fun weekend. It was a couple of weeks before my brother Jake moved, and so it was really fun to just get that quality time away, kind of off the grid with my family. In March, Billy and I made a quick trip up to Lexington, Kentucky to watch the Kentucky Wildcats play basketball on senior night. This was my Christmas gift from Billy, and it was so much fun. There is no energy like Rupp Arena. If you're a Kentucky fan, you know. If you're not, I guess we can still be friends, but would highly recommend a game in Rupp. And then my brother Jake moved to Germany. This was a goal he had been working on for many, many years, and I'm so happy for him. It's where he wants to be, but gosh, do we miss him. So that was a sad one to hug him goodbye for now. In April, I got to run with another Olympian, Ryan Hall. If you guys listened to my recap episode last year, which I did in preparation for this episode, it was actually really fun to listen back and hear about the prior year and what my goals I had set for 2025 were. But in that episode, I talked about running with Olympian Des Linden. So Knoxville Track Club, shout out. You guys have gotten some big names at the Knoxville Marathon weekend the last 2 years. So Ryan hosted the shakeout run the day before the marathon and half marathon, which was so fun to just get to go and run and chat with him. And now I've run with 2 Olympians, and I'm definitely as fast as them too. The next day I ran the Knoxville Half Marathon. I've run this one many, many times now. It was so much fun. I was so happy to be out there, and I was so happy to be running the half marathon and not the full marathon. This is when I started kind of getting my mojo back from running. So there were several months in the new year where running and me were not friends, but this is where I was like, no pressure on this race. I just want to go and have fun. And I really did have a great time. I love that course, running through downtown Knoxville, my hometown. It was just a lot of fun. At the end of April, I also traveled with Billy and my dad to Louisville, Kentucky to run the Derby mini marathon with my uncle and my cousin. And this is a race I've done a lot of times as well. I love, love, love this course. I love the city of Louisville. If you are looking for a good Southeastern half marathon, I would highly recommend this one. You get to run a lap in Churchill Downs around mile 8, where they have the Kentucky Derby the following weekend. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of energy in the city. People are getting excited for the race. And I've run this half, I've run this full, I've run it alone, I've run it with family. It's just so much fun. We will all be there again in 2026 running the half. So if you are interested and you want to join me, I do have an affiliate link. So I'll pop that in the show notes. Or of course, you could always message me on Instagram if you're interested in the link, or if you just want to learn a little bit more about the race and see if it's something for you. But I love it. I hope I do this every year. It's so fun. In May, I officially went full time with Health by Haven. So April kind of ended my short little stint managing the Pure Barn Knoxville, and May began full-time Health by Haven, which is a huge milestone. It's something I've been working on for years, and I started taking on health coaching clients again. It was just so exciting. I did a bit of an overhaul of my website and my Instagram and all the things, working on setting up the business. I also had a week at Hilton Head Island with Billy's parents and Billy to celebrate his law school graduation. It was such a nice, rejuvenating week. We love going to Sea Pines, our favorite spot down there. So that was amazing. And we, of course, then celebrated Billy's law school graduation. Very, very proud of him. He did so well. Was in a top percentage of his class, if I can brag on him. So he did amazing. And it was so fun to have both of our families there celebrating. We also got to celebrate Waffle's second birthday in May. equally as important, of course. And then right after Billy's graduation, we hopped on a plane the next day to New York City so that I could run the Brooklyn Half Marathon. This is my second time running that race. I also love that race course. I recapped the whole thing on episode 55 of the show. If you're curious about the race, what the course is like, what the experience is like, but that's another one I would highly recommend. I guess spring was just the season of half marathons for me. And then to end May, we traveled to Chattanooga, Tennessee for the wedding of two of Billy's law school classmates who were in a study group together, Jake and Reagan. Billy was in their wedding, and it was so fun to get to celebrate those two that weekend with all their law school friends. In June, sadly, we had to say goodbye to our family dog, Arlo. Sweet, sweet buddy. We got him when I was in high school, so that was a very hard time to have to say goodbye to him. But we got really lucky with having such a sweet boy around our family for so many years. And then in June, I also had a girls' weekend with my mom. We went to Charlotte for my friend Savannah's wedding shower, and then we spent the weekend in Asheville together. And this is just my plug to have a girls' trip with your mom. It was so fun, and I'm so glad that we got that little weekend together. In July, I celebrated my 30th birthday, which, I can't even believe it. It was something I was like, kind of excited and kind of dreading for a long time. But now I feel like I'm in my 30s, and I feel like my 30s are going to be my best decade yet. And so a number that used to scare me a lot is actually really exciting me now. And I think a lot is going to change in my 30s, and I'm very excited to see where it takes me. I also began training for the New York City Marathon in July. This is truly when I feel like I healed my relationship with running. Not that it won't continue to ebb and flow throughout my life, but I mean, for this year, I was so pumped to start marathon training. I cataloged that for you guys on the running report every Friday, well, for my Substack subscribers. So if you're interested in what marathon training truly looks like week after week, go to healthbyhaven.substack.com. You can look back on my Friday running reports to get a little peek into what that looks like. And then we moved out of our apartment in Knoxville in July because August, we basically lived as nomads in Europe. We had no lease. Bless my parents for watching waffles for us, and bless Billy's job for having a storage unit for all of our stuff, because we had no home and we essentially lived in Europe. We just went around from France and Italy. So we visited Paris, Rome, Monterosso, Florence, Bordeaux, and then back to Paris. It was a long trip. It was so much fun. We got to spend some time in Rome with my brother. You can hear all about our European adventures on episode 69 of the podcast if it's something you're interested in, if you're thinking about planning a trip. But would highly recommend taking a month to just travel abroad if you're able. I was very lucky that we got to do that. It's kind of a combo 30th birthday celebration for me and law school graduation / bar trip for Billy. And then right when we got back, we moved to New York City, which I'm not sure I'd necessarily recommend a huge move right after vacation, because then you're just like tired and stressed all over again. But alas, that is how the cards fell. And we chat all about that on episode 70 of the podcast if you're interested in what the move to the city was like. I want to share something really special, especially for our listeners in South Carolina. Avoda Massage Therapy is growing and opening a brand new studio in Lexington, South Carolina, with doors officially opening January 6th. And appointments are open right now. Services at their Lexington location will include craniosacral fascial therapy, a gentle, calming style of bodywork that supports your nervous system and helps your body unwind and reset, infant and pediatric bodywork, and new CFT family sessions to promote and support family well-being. Their specialized facial, buccal, and neck massage will also be an amazing service option offered at their Lexington location. This work includes intraoral techniques and can be incredibly helpful for jaw tension, TMJD, headaches, and facial tightness, especially if you carry stress in your face or neck. If you're looking for thoughtful, supportive care in a welcoming environment, Avoda Massage Therapy's new Lexington location may just be what you need. You can learn more and schedule your session in the Lexington location by visiting avodamassagetherapy.com. That's AVODAH massagetherapy.com. In September, I started teaching Pure Barre at Pure Barre New York City again. I had been teaching here last summer while we moved here for a brief period for Billy's internship, but got back on the full-time schedule in September after that little August hiatus of teaching. And I filed Health by Haven as an LLC in the state of New York, which, by the way, they do not make easy, but it is officially official. So that felt really exciting. I also ran the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile, which I don't think I had ever run a mile race recorded before, but I do like to count this as a PR because I went under 7 minutes, which was my goal, actually by a lot. I hit 6:37 on a very rainy day, so I'm very proud of that. It felt horrible. I don't know why the mile is a race distance. Shout out to track runners, could never be me. I'm a distance girl through and through, but it was really fun to push myself in a new way. And hopefully next year, the race won't be rainy. And then to finish off September, Billy and I flew to Charlotte for me to be at my best friend Savannah's wedding. Our other best friend Georgie was there from London. So it was such a good little reunion of the three of us and lots of fun. When we got back in October, one of my other best friends, Hannah, visited from South Carolina. It was so much fun to get to show her around the city. We did lots of fun girls trip type things and saw Mamma Mia on Broadway. And it was just the best to have her here. And long distance friendships are horrible. I wish all my friends lived in the same city as me, but it was so fun to have her visit for a bit. I also hired my first 2 Health by Haven interns in October, Mia and Kimba. They're crushing the social media game for me because that is not my favorite part of my job. And so they've been lovely assets to the team. Be sure to go follow Health by Haven on TikTok and on Pinterest to show them and their work some love. Then we celebrated Billy's 31st birthday in October at the Rangers game. He is a huge New York sports fan, especially the Rangers and the Yankees, so that was a blast. Health by Haven's Substack hit number 84 on the Rising Health and Wellness list. I almost passed out when this notification popped up on my phone. I was so excited. I pour my heart and soul into my Substack every week, just like I do the podcast. So definitely make sure you're subscribed over there. There are a couple of options. You can subscribe for free for some of the content. And then if you want the full content, you can subscribe monthly or annually. But any of the three, greatly appreciated, and would just love to have you over there. It's a fun place to hang out. Can have a little bit more long form content because honestly, I'm tired of the short form content. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like my attention is pulled in 10,000 ways each day, and I don't want those quick little hits anymore. I rarely even scroll any social media now. I want the long form podcasts, Substacks, bring it back old school. So if that is you, keep listening to this podcast and head on over healthbyhaven.substack.com. Substack is a place for you. There's a million amazing writers over there as well. So don't just subscribe to me, but it's a really fun place to hang out, and would recommend downloading the app because it's just a little bit more user-friendly than the web browser. Okay, I also started working with Avoda Massage Therapy in October. They are a huge partner of the podcast and of the business. I cannot say enough great things about them. Shannon is so wonderful, the owner, and they are doing some really, really amazing work. So if you're in Columbia, South Carolina, definitely be sure to check them out. This is not one of their ads. This is just me genuinely giving them praise. They have some really exciting things happening in the new year. So go over to their Instagram too to see what I'm talking about. I don't have any spoilers for you, but they are wonderful. It's been such a blessing working with them, and they are our season 4 sponsor of the Health by Haven podcast as well. Okay, and then to close out October, I went to the New York City Marathon Expo to pick up my bib for the race, and I recorded a podcast episode with my absolute running idol, the Dina Castor, Olympian, record holder in a million different distances. She is so incredible. She's so humble and kind and amazing. So go listen to her episode 78, if you haven't yet. It's all about the mindset side of being an athlete and running, and the lessons you can learn on the run that can pivot into your life as well. She's so incredible. It was such a pinch me moment. In November 1st, I ran the Dash to the Finish Line 5K. This was just a shakeout run for me, as it was the day before the marathon, and that was my big goal. And then that afternoon, I went to the live podcast recording of the Alley on the Run show at Jazz at Lincoln Center, which was such a stunning venue. Maybe one day we'll have a Health by Haven podcast recording there. Let's manifest it. Let's put it out into the universe. But such a fun show. Made some new friends there and met Dina Castor in real life. So that was so much fun to be just like in all of the running scene buzz. And then the next day was the New York City Marathon. Oh my gosh, the most fun marathon of my entire life, most fun race of my entire life. Such amazing energy. You can hear all about my experience on episode 79 of the show if this is something that you're interested in doing in the future. But it was a big marathon PR for me, 3 hours, 30 minutes, 10 seconds. I'm very proud of that, especially on such a tough course. But really, I'm proud of going out there and having fun, especially because the year did not start off with me in a good place with running. And so to just go and truly be like grinning ear to ear, I was just so happy there. We kicked off the Christmas season in November. Billy and I did with a date night at the Rockettes. I love seeing them. And then we traveled to Tennessee for Thanksgiving with both of our families. We ran the turkey trot in Johnson City, Tennessee. And I believe it was my 5K PR in an actual 5K race. Now, I've run a faster 5K in my marathon, ironically, but my PR that day, 24:06, Billy and I ran it together, and I think that's maybe my fastest recorded 5K. So that was fun. In December, we got our first live Christmas tree in New York City, which was definitely an adventure, bringing a humongous heavy tree on the subway, but we did it. And we went to the Nutcracker Ballet as another Christmas date night. Really like my favorite tradition. If you don't know, I used to dance in the Nutcracker growing up in Knoxville, Tennessee, in the Appalachian Ballet Company's Nutcracker. And so I just adore going and watching the Nutcracker at Christmas time. Brings back so many memories. I also hosted the 12 Days of Healthy Holidays on Instagram, and my interns sweetly posted on TikTok and Pinterest for me, but was so much fun to bring you guys 12 days of healthy recipes for your holiday season, whether it was to put on your Christmas table or to enjoy at a potluck or throughout the holiday season. That was a lot of fun. So let me know if there are other little series like that you guys are interested in seeing on social media. I want to make sure that I'm providing helpful content for you. And lastly, to close out December, We went home for the holidays. We went back to Tennessee. Billy and I flew there this time because we left our dog Waffles with my parents for 3 weeks after Thanksgiving. Once again, bless them. They've watched her a lot this year. And we got some good family time. I also got the stomach bug and a cold because the stomach bug wasn't enough on its own. That was really, really rough. I'm not going to lie. I spent some time feeling like a victim, sulking in my self-pity because I was finally home and finally not working, and I was not enjoying myself. I was either sick or in bed for many days, but overall was still a very nice trip. Did get some good quality time. My whole family, all my siblings were home. So that was such a treat because I didn't really think that was going to happen with all of us living in separate states and even countries. So that was lovely. And of course, seeing Billy's family was lovely as well. Now I'm still trying to recover over here. Whew, okay. Month by month recap. Check. You guys still there? This is a long one. But now we must do the podcast recaps. This year, you guys listened to the Health by Haven podcast in 55 countries. What? That is so crazy. So, top 5 countries that the podcast is listened to in. Number 5, the Netherlands. Number 4, Turkey. Number 3, Singapore. Number 2, Germany. And number 1, the US, of course, because I am US based. And you listen to the podcast in 694 different cities. Mind blowing. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Top 5 cities, very similar to last year. Number 5, Maryville, Tennessee. Shout out to my family and family friends. Number 4, Columbia, South Carolina. Number 3, Charlotte, North Carolina. Number 2, New York, New York. And coming in that top slot again this year, Knoxville, Tennessee. Now, in 2025, there were 2 seasons of the Health by Haven podcast, season 2 and season 3. And throughout those 2 seasons, I had 43 different guests on, 5 of those being repeat guests, and 9 different solo episodes. So I feel very happy about that number, 43 guests, so many people who are experts in their fields of health and wellness or who come on to share their running story or their personal health journey. I really, really work hard to get quality guests on the show for you guys to keep you entertained, to show you that healthy living can be fun, that you don't have to take it so seriously, but to also really teach you stuff and to bring different perspectives and to not only talk about one topic of health, but to talk about the myriad of topics and how they all intertwine and how you can take care of yourself in all these different facets to feel well. So I hope that you guys are truly enjoying that big variety. The top 5 episodes of this year, coming in at number 5, was episode 44, Your Friend, the OBGYN, Women's Health 101 with Dr. Lauren Honkin. Coming in at number 4 was episode 39, Healthy Pregnancy with Tastiest Fit owner Emily Blanchard. She was a return guest of this show. Coming in at number 3 was episode 37, Toughen Up Buttercup, a motivational solo with Haven. Number 2 was episode 76, Marissa West, owner of West Kept Secret, NFL Top Cats trainer, and former NFL cheerleader. And coming in as the top downloaded episode of 2025 was episode 36, Chiropractic Care and Nervous System Function with Dr. Brittany Rohr. So I love seeing these stats and seeing what topics are resonating with you guys. So clearly this year was big on chiropractic care, nervous system regulation, fitness, entrepreneurship, motivation, pregnancy, women's health. You guys were loving those topics. I want to know what else you want to learn about so that in season 4 and beyond, I can really bring those guests and those topics that you are interested in. So, seriously, anytime, please message me over on Instagram at Health by Haven. I love, love, love hearing from you guys, and I want to make sure all of 2026 has episodes and content that you are super excited to listen to. Okay, now we're going to take a little look back on my goals I set for 2025 and if I achieved those or not. And I spent a little time listening back to episode 34, my year-end review of 2024 before recording this, so I could kind of see what were those goals that I set and did I actually accomplish them? So here we go. I'm airing myself out live here. First goal. Boston qualify for the Boston Marathon. Did not do this, unfortunately. I would like to place the blame elsewhere, not on myself. No, just kidding. But the Boston Athletic Association did lower my age group's time qualifying standards by 5 minutes. So I will say I was chasing a moving goalpost in my defense, but I did not Boston qualify in 2025. Again, I will be chasing this goal. Time will tell. Will it happen in 2026? Stay tuned. I did PR in the marathon though, and simultaneously PR'd in the half marathon, 5K, and mile during that race. So there is that. I also had my big European trip. This is not one that I talked about on the podcast last year, but it had always been my goal. Visit Europe before the time I'm 30, and I'm so lucky to say that I have 4 times before I was 30. So this past year, I did France and Italy with Billy as my 4th trip to Europe. I started a new job and took Health by Haven full time and moved to New York City. These have all been big goals on the horizon for me for a few years. So happy that I accomplished those. A few of the more tangible goals that I talked about in last year's year-end recap episode was to have at least 35 of the 52 episodes be guest episodes. So check on that one. 43 were actually guest episodes. So overachiever on that. Although one of my top episodes was a solo. So maybe you guys want some more solos. I don't know. You let me know. Another goal I had set was to post an Instagram post every Monday introducing that day's podcast guest and episode. I did that, so check. Give my website, healthbyhaven.com, a refresh. I'm going to give myself half credit on this one because I did do a big refresh on the website, but it is definitely not where I want it still something that I'm working on overhauling. So if you have any tips or tricks, hit your girl up. This is not my favorite thing to do. I set a goal of posting 5 times a week on Instagram content for you guys. I think I did that most weeks. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to go back and look every week. That seems like a waste of time to me, but I am proud of how consistent I was on Instagram throughout the year. And then start a Health by Haven Pinterest account. I did that thanks to my wonderful intern who keeps me moving on Pinterest. So go and follow Health by Haven on Pinterest. If you guys want an easy spot to access recipes, you can pin them to your favorite food boards. Okay, goals for 2026. Quality over quantity. I am really working on prioritizing my goals and what I want to accomplish, and then focusing my energy on my priorities. It is really easy for me to get distracted, especially as a business owner, of the 10 million things I feel like I should be doing every day. And often those days where I let that happen, I feel very anxious and very overwhelmed and get less done. So I've been working really hard and will continue to do so this year on setting my priorities and focusing on one thing at a time. Maybe you can relate. I don't know. Another goal is to finish nutrition school and to begin my nutrition practicum that will allow me to sit for the board exam. So, if you are new around here, I am in school at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition so that I can become a board certified health and wellness coach. I do currently take coaching clients, but I will be eligible to sit for the board exam after this program. In 2021, I completed a nutrition and healthy living certificate from Cornell University, and this is one that I decided I wanted to do as well to get some additional insight and certification for my coaching clients. So, very excited to bring them even more knowledge in that realm coming up. I would love to PR in the half marathon this year, although I am kind of tentatively stating this goal because I'm not sure I really want to put in the amount of work it's going to take in training to PR in the half marathon. So being totally transparent with you guys, I hate speed work. I love a long run. I hate a speed day. So TBD on if this happens, but I am running the New York City half in March, which I'm very excited about. So stay tuned if I stick to my speed work days. I am starting the Dinner Club, which is my monthly Substack membership. This is a Friday newsletter that will go out every Friday this year, outlining your entire week of meals. So if you're somebody who really struggles with meal planning and executing, cooking yourself and your family nourishing healthy meals, this is designed for you specifically. Or if you're someone who's super busy, this is a great hack for you. I will be putting in your inbox every Friday your next week's meal plan, a breakfast, a lunch, 4 dinners, bonus snacks and fun treats, and a corresponding grocery list. So I'm literally making it as easy as I possibly can on you without coming to your home and cooking for you, which I would do if I could replicate myself, but I can't. So this is the next best option. So make sure you subscribe monthly or annually if you want to save at healthbyhaven.substack.com. Goal number 5, host my first in-person Health by Haven workshop and my first live podcast recording. Both of those are in the works for March, so stay tuned, especially my friends in Columbia and in Charlotte. Create more of a structure for my workday and reestablish a consistent morning routine. So now that I'm an entrepreneur, I can make my own schedule. I don't report to anyone. These are wonderful things, but I have learned about myself that I really thrive off of structure and routine. So I have set for myself weekly structure, which days I'm going to be working on which tasks, as well as a morning routine and structure. I used to be so religious about this when I worked for someone else, and I've let it get a little bit lax, a little bit flexible, but to be honest, I could extend my morning routine halfway through my day. So I've set some parameters and some boundaries for myself. If you're curious about it, I'm happy to talk to you about it, but I won't bore you here. Just know that's one of my goals. Another goal is to visit my brother Jake in Germany. I really want to make this trip happen this year. Some of it will depend on his school schedule and Billy's work schedule, but that is something on my radar. And lastly, perhaps run my 7th marathon, ? This is not a good way to goal set, by the way, you guys. Do as I say, not as I do. I have my eye on a couple of races, so it'll either fall within fall, winter of 26 or early winter of 27. That's why I'm saying perhaps run my 7th, because I haven't fully committed to the race yet, but I have a couple that I've got my eye on. You guys know I'll be back for the marathon at some point. I also have some revenue goals, of course, for Health by Haven. Those ones I'm not going to share on here. If this is an industry that you're really interested in getting into, I'm more than happy to have a private conversation with you and you can message me. But yeah, revenue goals, of course, as any business does. Okay, so to try to wrap things up, My word for 2025 was beginnings, which I think is very accurate. Beginning a new job, beginning a life in a new city. And my word for 2026 is abundance. I want abundance of joy, of love, financial abundance for my business, an abundance of experiences like travel, activities, restaurants, and an abundance of community. And I think sometimes we can view life in a scarcity mindset and think there's only so much to go around. And I don't want to be living my life in fear or in scarcity. I want to be living it in joy and abundance and sharing what I can with others. So that is my word for 2026. I don't know if you guys are into having a word for the year, if you're into making a vision board, which is what I'm about to do right after this podcast episode is recorded. But let me know. I love kind of hearing how different people resonate with looking back on their year and planning for the year ahead. And I'm always looking for new ideas as well. So I love hearing from you guys. Don't ever hesitate to message me. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Let me know what else you want to hear. Hope you have a very happy, healthy new year. And I will talk to you again next week. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.